Are you an older woman who's been swept off her feet by a charming man, but something deep down just doesn't feel right? What if I told you that there are 6 unmistakable warning signs that he might not be interested in your heart, but rather, what's in your wallet, your home, or the security you can provide? Stay with me because what I'm about to share could save you from heartbreak and financial ruin. Welcome back to our channel, where we empower women to recognize their worth and protect themselves in relationships. I'm here today to discuss a topic that's incredibly important, but often overlooked in our society. As women mature and find themselves navigating the dating world later in life, they can become targets for men who see opportunity rather than genuine connection. If this video resonates with you, please hit that like button, leave a comment sharing your thoughts or experiences, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our empowering content. Your support means everything to us, so if you find value in what we share, consider supporting our channel with super thanks. Now, let's dive into these crucial warning signs that every older woman needs to know. Warning sign. Number 1. He shows excessive interest in your financial situation. First major red flag to watch for is when a man shows an unusual and persistent interest in your financial situation, especially early in the relationship. This isn't about normal curiosity between two people getting to know each other. This is about someone who seems more interested in your bank account than your personality. A man who genuinely cares about you will focus on learning about your interests, your values, your dreams, and your past experiences. He'll want to know what makes you laugh, what your favorite books are, how you like to spend your weekends, and what's important to you in life. However, a man who's using you will steer conversations toward money matters with concerning frequency. He might ask questions like how much your house is worth, whether you own it outright, what kind of retirement savings you have, or whether you receive Social Security or pension benefits. He might inquire about your investments, your insurance, policies, or even probe about inheritance you might expect. While some of these topics might naturally come up in a serious long-term relationship, they shouldn't be focal points in early dating. Pay attention to how he reacts when you mention financial struggles or expenses. Does he seem disappointed when you mention that money is tight? Or does he offer genuine support and understanding? A caring partner will be empathetic about financial challenges and won't view them as obstacles to his own agenda. Another concerning behavior is when he starts making suggestions about your finances without being asked. He might recommend that you make certain investments, suggest that you should sell your home and downsize, or propose that you make changes to your will or estate planning. While these conversations are appropriate between committed partners who are planning a future together, they're inappropriate coming from someone you've just started dating. Watch for subtle ways he might be assessing your wealth. Does he seem to take mental inventory of your possessions when he visits your home? Does he make comments about your jewelry, artwork, or furniture that seem to be evaluating their value rather than simply complimenting your taste? Does he seem particularly interested in your car, asking about its value or whether it's paid off? Some men might even go so far as to Google you or research your property records to find out information about your financial situation. If you discover that he knows things about your finances that you haven't shared with him, this is a serious red flag that suggests he's been investigating your worth rather than simply getting to know you as a person. The key distinction is intention and timing. A man who truly cares about building a life with you will eventually need to understand your financial situation, but this will happen naturally as your relationship deepens and you begin making serious plans together. A man who's using you will push for this information prematurely and will seem more excited about your financial assets than he is about your personality and companionship. Warning, sign number 2. He has sudden financial emergencies or needs, the i.e. Second warning sign is perhaps one of the most classic and obvious, yet many intelligent, successful women still fall for it because it's often presented in very convincing ways. This is when your new romantic interest begins having sudden financial emergencies or expressing urgent financial needs, particularly after he's learned about your financial stability. These emergencies often follow a predictable pattern. At first, he might mention small financial hiccups in passing, almost as if he's embarrassed to bring them up. He might say his paycheck was delayed, or he had an unexpected car repair, or his credit card was compromised and he's waiting for a new one. These initial mentions are often designed to test your willingness to help and to gauge how generous you might be. If you respond with sympathy and perhaps offer to help with small amounts, you've essentially told him that you're willing to be his financial safety net. This is when the emergencies tend to escalate both in frequency and in the amounts needed. Suddenly, he might have a medical emergency that insurance won't cover, a business opportunity that requires immediate investment, legal troubles that require expensive attorney fees, or a family crisis that demands urgent financial assistance. The stories become increasingly elaborate and emotionally manipulative. He might tell you about a sick relative who needs expensive treatment, a business deal that will make him wealthy if he can just come up with the initial investment, or legal problems that aren't his fault, but that threaten to ruin his life if not resolved quickly. These stories are designed to pull at your heartstrings and make you feel like you're not just giving money, but saving someone you care about. What makes this particularly insidious is that these men often do their homework. They know that older women, particularly those who have been successful in their careers or marriages, often have a strong nurturing instinct and a desire to help people they care about. They exploit this natural generosity and compassion. Another variation of this pattern is when he doesn't directly ask for money, but creates situations where you feel compelled to offer. He might mention that he can't afford to take you on the nice dates he wishes he could, leading you to suggest that you pay for dinners and activities. He might talk about struggling to make his rent or mortgage payment, causing you to worry about his housing stability. He might mention that his car is about to be repossessed, making you fear that he won't be able to visit you or maintain his job. Some of these men are skilled at making their requests seem like investments or loans rather than gifts. They might ask to borrow money with promises to pay you back with interest, or they might invite you to invest in their business ventures, making it sound like you'll profit from helping them. They might even provide official-looking documents or contracts to make these arrangements seem legitimate. The timing of these emergencies is also telling. They often occur just when your relationship seems to be getting more serious. Or right after you've shared information about your own financial security. It's as if learning about your resources triggers a cascade of problems that only your money can solve. Pay attention to how he handles these supposed emergencies. Does he seem to have tried other solutions before coming to you? Or are you his first call for help? Does he seem genuinely distressed about having to ask for your assistance, or does he seem comfortable making these requests? Has he shown you concrete evidence of these problems, such as bills, legal documents, or medical records? Or are you expected to take his word for everything? Most importantly, notice whether these emergencies ever actually get resolved, or whether solving one problem simply leads to another crisis that requires more of your money. A pattern of endless financial emergencies is a clear sign that you're being used as a personal ATM, rather than being valued as a romantic partner. Warning, sign number 3. He pushes for commitment or cohabitation. Unusually fast, the third warning. Sign involves the pace of relationship progression. Specifically, when a man pushes for serious commitment or cohabitation, much faster than would be normal or healthy. While every relationship moves at its own pace, there are certain red flags that indicate someone might be rushing commitment, not out of love, but out of a desire to secure access to your resources and stability. A man who is genuinely interested in building a meaningful relationship with you will want to take the time to really get to know you. He'll be curious about your life story, your experiences, your children and grandchildren, your career, your hobbies, and your dreams for the future. He'll want to understand your values, your deal breakers, and what makes you happy. This kind of deep getting to know you process takes time and can't be rushed. However, a man who's primarily interested in what you can provide for him will be eager to skip past the getting to know you phase and move straight to the benefits phase. He might start talking about moving in together after just a few weeks or months of dating. He might bring up marriage or long-term commitment before you've even had a chance to see how you handle conflict together or how compatible you are in daily life. This rush toward commitment often comes with compelling explanations that are designed to make his urgency seem romantic rather than suspicious. He might say that he's at a stage in his life where he doesn't want to waste time, that he knows what he wants when he sees it, or that life is too short to move slowly. He might claim that he's never felt this way about anyone before, or that he's been waiting his whole life for someone like you. While these declarations might sound flattering, they should raise questions rather than simply make you feel special. How can someone truly know they want to spend their life with you before they've seen you handle stress, navigate disagreements, interact with your family and friends, or deal with everyday challenges? How can someone be certain about long-term compatibility without having experienced the natural ups and downs that come with any relationship? The push for cohabitation is particularly concerning because it often comes with practical benefits that serve his interests more than yours. He might suggest that it makes financial sense to share living expenses, that you could take care of each other better if you live together, or that it's silly to maintain two separate households when you're spending so much time together anyway. However, moving in together, especially into your home, gives him immediate access to a stable living situation, reduced personal expenses, and proximity to your assets and resources. It also makes it much more difficult for you to end the relationship. If you start to have doubts because extricating someone from your home is much more complicated than simply stopping dating them, pay attention to whose living situation would benefit most from cohabitation. Is he suggesting that you move into his place, or is he angling to move into yours? If he's pushing to move into your home, especially if you own it while he rents, or has housing instability, this could be a sign that he's more interested in your real estate than your companionship. Another red flag is when he starts making long-term plans that involve your resources before you've made any commitments to him. He might talk about trips you could take together using your travel rewards or retirement savings. He might suggest home improvements that could be made to your property. He might discuss how his financial situation would improve once he's not paying separate rent, or how he could finally pursue his dreams once he has the stability that living with you would provide. Some men will even start establishing themselves in your life in ways that create practical dependence. He might start receiving mail at your address, bring more and more of his possessions to your home, or begin using your address for official purposes like changing his voter registration or updating his driver's license. These actions are designed to make it more difficult for you to end the relationship and easier for him to claim residency rights. The healthy pace for a relationship allows both people to maintain their independence while gradually choosing to share more of their lives together. You should still have your own space, your own routines, your own friends, and your own decision-making autonomy, even as you grow closer to someone. A man who truly cares about you will respect your need to move at a comfortable pace and won't pressure you to make major life changes before you're ready. Warning. Sign number 4. He shows little interest in your life beyond what you can provide. A fourth warning sign is perhaps one of the most telling, yet it can be subtle and easy to overlook when you're caught up in the excitement of a new relationship. This is when a man shows little genuine interest in your life, your experiences, your thoughts, and your feelings beyond what directly relates to what you can provide for him. When someone truly cares about you as a person, they're naturally curious about who you are beyond the surface level. They want to know about your childhood, the experiences that shaped you, the challenges you've overcome, and the accomplishments you're proud of. They're interested in your opinions on current events, your thoughts about books or movies, your memories of raising children, and your perspectives on life that come from your years of experience. A caring partner will ask follow-up questions when you share stories about your past. If you mention that you used to teach school, they'll want to know what grades you taught, what you loved most about teaching, funny stories about students, and how education has changed since you were in the classroom. If you talk about your late spouse, they'll be interested in understanding that relationship respectfully, learning about how it shaped you, and appreciating the love you shared without feeling threatened by it. They'll also be interested in your current life beyond your relationship with them. They'll want to know about your friendships, your relationships with your children and grandchildren, your hobbies and interests, and your daily routines. They'll ask about your health concerns not just because they affect him, but because they care about your well-being. They'll remember details about your life and follow up on things you've told them about. However, a man who's using you will show a noticeable lack of interest in these aspects of your life. His attention will be primarily focused on information that's relevant to his agenda. He might listen politely when you talk about your experiences, but he won't ask probing questions or seem genuinely engaged. He might even seem impatient when the conversation isn't focused on topics that benefit him directly. You might notice that he has poor recall for details about your life that don't affect him. He might forget the names of your children or grandchildren, not remember important dates or events you've told him about, or seem unclear about basic facts about your background or interests. This isn't because he has a bad memory in general, but because he's not investing mental energy in information that doesn't serve his purposes. Conversely, he'll have excellent recall for information that relates to your resources or what you can do for him. He'll remember exactly what kind of car you drive, details about your home, information about your financial situation, and your schedule when it affects his plans with you. This selective attention reveals his true priorities. Another telling sign is how he responds when you're going through difficult times that don't directly impact him. If you're dealing with health issues, family problems, work stress, or emotional challenges, does he show genuine concern and support? Or does he seem impatient for you to get back to focusing on him and his needs? A caring partner will want to comfort you and help you through tough times, while someone who's using you will view your problems as inconveniences that interfere with what he wants from you. Pay attention to the balance of emotional support in your relationship. Are you consistently listening to his problems, offering advice, and providing emotional comfort, while receiving little of the same in return? Does he seem to assume that your role is to be supportive of him while not requiring much support yourself? This one-sided emotional dynamic is often present when someone is being used. Also notice whether he shows interest in your growth and happiness independent of the relationship. A loving partner wants you to thrive in all areas of your life. They encourage your friendships, support your interests, and want you to pursue activities that make you happy even if those activities don't include them. Someone who's using you might discourage activities or relationships that don't benefit him, or that might give you perspectives that help you see his true nature. He might discourage you from spending time with friends or family members who might ask questions about him or offer protective advice. He might show little interest in your hobbies unless they somehow serve his purposes, or he might actively discourage pursuits that take your time, attention, or money away from what he wants. The conversation patterns in your relationship are also revealing. Does he ask you questions about yourself and listen to the answers? Or does he primarily talk about himself and his situations? When you try to share something important about your day or your feelings, does he engage meaningfully with what you've said? Or does he quickly redirect the conversation back to himself? Some men who are using older women become skilled at giving the appearance of interest without actual engagement. They might ask superficial questions and give generic responses that could apply to anyone. They might nod and make appropriate sounds while you're talking, but then demonstrate through their responses or actions that they weren't really listening or don't remember what you said. Warning sign number 5. He isolates you from your support network. The 5th warning sign is particularly dangerous and often develops gradually, making it easy to miss until significant damage has been done to your important relationships. This is when a man systematically works to isolate you from your support network of family, friends, and other people who care about your well-being and might protect you from being taken advantage of. Your support network is crucial to your emotional health and your safety. These are the people who have known you for years or decades, who have your best interests at heart, and who can offer objective perspectives on your relationships and life decisions. They're also the people most likely to notice changes in your behavior, ask tough questions about new relationships, and potentially identify red flags that you might miss when you're emotionally invested in someone. A man with honorable intentions will want to meet the important people in your life and will make an effort to build positive relationships with them. He'll understand that your family and friends are important to you, and he'll respect the roles they play in your life. He might be nervous about meeting them, but he'll be willing to do so because he wants to be integrated into your world in a healthy way. However, a man who's using you will view your support network as a threat to his agenda. These people might ask him uncomfortable questions about his intentions, his background, or his financial situation. They might notice inconsistencies in his stories or recognize patterns of behavior that concern them. Most importantly, they might encourage you to be cautious or to protect your assets, which directly conflicts with his goals. The isolation process usually starts subtly, He might make small negative comments about your friends or family members, planting seeds of doubt about their motivations or their treatment of you. He might suggest that they don't really understand you or that they're jealous of your happiness. He might claim that they're being overprotective or that they don't want you to move on with your life. He might also create conflicts or uncomfortable situations when you're with your loved ones. He might be rude or inappropriate during family gatherings, making you feel embarrassed and less likely to include him in future events. He might pick fights with you before social occasions, causing you to cancel plans or arrive upset and distracted. Over time, this can make social interactions less enjoyable and cause you to avoid them. Another tactic is monopolizing your time and attention. He might plan activities during times when you would normally see friends or family, or he might create emergencies or urgent needs that require your immediate attention just when you have plans with others. He might express hurt feelings when you choose to spend time with other people, making you feel guilty for maintaining your other relationships. Some men will directly ask you to choose between them and your loved ones. They might say that your friends or family don't respect your relationship, that they're causing problems between you, or that a truly committed relationship requires prioritizing your partner above all others. This is manipulation designed to make you feel like you have to prove your love by cutting ties with people who care about you. Pay attention to how he reacts when your friends or family express concerns about him or your relationship. Does he acknowledge their concerns respectfully and try to address them, or does he become angry and defensive? Does he encourage you to listen to their perspectives and consider their advice, or does he dismiss their opinions as uninformed or malicious? A particularly concerning pattern is when he starts sharing private information about your relationships with him, making your loved ones seem like the problem. He might tell you that your daughter is only concerned about her inheritance, that your best friend is jealous of your happiness, or that your family members don't want you to be independent. These accusations are designed to make you doubt the people who care most about protecting you. The isolation might also be financial. He might suggest that you don't need to maintain certain relationships because they're expensive, such as traveling, to visit family, or participating in activities with friends. He might encourage you to reduce your social spending so that you have more money available for your life with him. Technology can also be used as an isolation tool. He might monitor your phone calls and text messages, either openly or secretly. He might discourage you from using social media or staying in touch with people online. He might want to know details about every conversation you have with others, claiming that he's just interested in your life when he's actually assessing whether anyone is influencing you against him. Some men will try to replace your natural support network with themselves and people they control. They might introduce you to their friends and family while encouraging you to distance yourself from yours. This creates a situation where your primary social contacts are people who are loyal to him rather than to you. The isolation process can be so gradual that you don't realize it's happening until you find yourself much more alone than you used to be. You might realize that you haven't talked to your best friend in months, that you've missed several family gatherings, or that you've stopped participating in activities and organizations that used to be important to you. This isolation serves multiple purposes for someone who's using you. It reduces the likelihood that someone will identify his manipulative behavior and warn you about it. It makes you more emotionally dependent on him, since he becomes your primary source of companionship and support. It also makes it much more difficult for you to leave the relationship, since you've weakened the support network you would need to help you through a breakup and recovery process. Warning, sign number 6. He has an inconsistent or questionable background story. The 6th and final warning sign involves inconsistencies, gaps, or questionable elements in his background story. When someone is genuinely interested in building an honest relationship with you, they'll be forthcoming about their history, their current circumstances, and their goals for the future. However, someone who's targeting you for what you can provide often has aspects of their background that they need to hide or embellish. A man with honest intentions will be able to tell you coherent stories about his past that remain consistent over time. He'll have reasonable explanations for major life events and transitions. He'll be able to provide details about his work history, his family relationships, his previous marriages or long-term relationships, and his living situation. Most importantly, The information he shares will check out if you happen to verify any of it. However, someone who's using you might have a background story that doesn't quite add up. There might be gaps in his employment history that he can't adequately explain, or his explanations for career changes might seem implausible. He might be vague about why his previous relationships ended, especially if there's a pattern of relationships with women who had resources that he benefited from. Pay attention to inconsistencies in his stories. Does he tell you he was married for 20 years, but later mention details that suggest a shorter marriage? Does he claim to have worked in a high-level position, but seem to lack the knowledge or skills that would be associated with that role? Does he say he's never been married, but then reference experiences that suggest otherwise? Some men create entirely fictional backgrounds to make themselves seem more appealing or successful than they really are. They might claim to have degrees they don't have, careers they never had, or business success that never existed. They might present themselves as temporarily down on their luck due to circumstances beyond their control, when in reality their current situation is the result of poor choices or patterns of irresponsible behavior. Financial background is particularly important to verify. He might claim to have money tied up in investments, legal proceedings, or business deals that temporarily prevent him from accessing his wealth. He might say he's expecting a large inheritance, insurance settlement, or business payout that will solve all his financial problems. These stories are often designed to explain why he needs your financial support now, while promising that he'll be able to reciprocate in the future. Be cautious about men who claim to have had great financial success in the past but have experienced recent reversals. While legitimate financial setbacks do happen, especially in later life, someone who is truly financially successful would likely have some remaining assets, insurance policies, or financial knowledge that would help them through temporary difficulties. Someone who claims to have lost everything might be telling you the truth, or they might never have had much to begin with. Legal troubles in his background should also be examined carefully. While everyone makes mistakes, and many people have minor legal issues in their past, be wary of men who have patterns of legal problems, especially those involving financial crimes, domestic violence, or exploitation of vulnerable people. Some men specifically target older women because they have experience manipulating this demographic and know that older women might be less likely to report crimes or pursue legal action. His living situation can also provide clues about his background and stability. Does he own his own home, rent a stable apartment, or seem to have unstable housing? If he's living with family members or friends temporarily, what are the circumstances that led to this arrangement? Be particularly cautious about men who are living in situations that they claim are temporary, but that might actually represent their long-term reality. Employment history and current work situation are crucial pieces of information. Does he have a steady job with verifiable employment? Can he provide reasonable references from employers or colleagues? Is his claimed income consistent with his lifestyle and spending patterns? Be suspicious of men who claim to be self-employed or running businesses that seem to generate little actual income, or who have frequent periods of unemployment that they blame on external factors. Family relationships can also provide insight into someone's character and background. How does he describe his relationships with his children, if he has them? Does he pay child support consistently? Does he have regular contact with his family members? While family relationships can be complicated and some people have legitimate reasons for being estranged from family members, patterns of broken relationships might indicate underlying character issues. Previous romantic relationships are another area to explore carefully. How does he describe his ex-wives or long-term partners? Does he take any responsibility for relationship problems? Or does he consistently portray himself as the victim of unreasonable or problematic women? Be particularly cautious about men who describe a pattern of relationships with older women or women who supported them financially. Social media and online presence can provide additional information about someone's background, though you should also be aware that social media profiles can be carefully curated or even fabricated. Still, someone with a genuine background will typically have an online presence that's consistent with the life they've described to you. If you have the opportunity to meet his friends, family members, or colleagues, pay attention to how they interact with him and what they say about his character and background. Do they seem to respect him and enjoy his company, or do they seem wary or distant? Do their stories about him match what he's told you about himself? Professional background verification might be warranted in some cases, especially if you're considering making major financial or life decisions based on your relationship. While you shouldn't feel like you need to hire a private investigator for every person you date, there are legitimate ways to verify basic information about employment, education, and legal history if you have concerns. The key is to trust your instincts when something doesn't feel right about someone's story. If you find yourself making excuses for inconsistencies or accepting explanations that don't quite make sense, it's worth taking a step back and examining the situation more objectively. Someone who's being honest with you won't mind reasonable questions about their background, and they won't become defensive or angry when you want to understand their history better. These 6 warning signs represent some of the most common tactics used by men who target older women for financial or material gain, rather than genuine companionship and love. It's important to understand that recognizing these signs doesn't mean you should become cynical about dating, or assume that every man you meet has ulterior motives. Most people, regardless of age, are looking for genuine connection and companionship. However, the reality is that older women, particularly those who are financially stable or own assets, can become targets for predatory individuals who see opportunity rather than a person worthy of love and respect. These men often specifically seek out women who are recently widowed, divorced, or otherwise vulnerable due to major life changes. They count on the fact that many older women have generous, nurturing natures and may be eager for companionship after periods of loneliness. The key to protecting yourself is maintaining awareness and trusting your instincts. If something feels wrong about a relationship, even if you can't put your finger on exactly what it is, that feeling is worth paying attention to. Your life experience has given you wisdom and intuition that you should honor. Even when you're excited about a new relationship, it's also crucial to maintain your independence and your support network, regardless of how wonderful a new relationship might seem. Keep making your own financial decisions, maintain your friendships and family relationships, and don't rush into major commitments or changes to your living situation. A man who truly cares about you will support your independence and won't pressure you to make decisions that primarily benefit him. Remember that you deserve a relationship based on mutual respect, genuine affection, and shared interests. You deserve someone who values you for who you are as a person, not what you can provide for them. You deserve someone who wants to add to your life, rather than subtract from it, who encourages your relationships with others rather than isolating you, and who is honest about his background and intentions. If you recognize any of these warning signs in a current relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to end the relationship immediately, but it does mean you should proceed with caution. Take time to objectively evaluate the situation, perhaps with the help of trusted friends or family members. Don't make any major financial or life decisions while you're still assessing someone's true character and intentions. Most importantly, remember that it's never too late to protect yourself or to end a relationship that isn't serving your best interests. You don't owe anyone access to your resources, your home, or your life simply because you've been dating them or because they claim to love you. Real love doesn't come with financial demands, pressure tactics, or attempts to isolate you from people who care about you. I hope this information has been helpful and empowering for you. Remember, knowledge is your best protection, and trusting your instincts is one of the most important skills you can develop. You have every right to take relationships slowly, ask questions, and prioritize your own well-being and security. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you've experienced any of these warning signs or if you have additional red flags to share with our community. Your experiences could help protect other women from falling into similar situations. Don't forget to share this video with any friends or family members who might benefit from this information. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we publish new content focused on empowering women and helping you navigate life's challenges with confidence and wisdom. If you appreciate the work we do here, please consider supporting our channel with super thanks. which helps us continue creating content that makes a real difference in people's lives. Until next time, remember that you are valuable, you are worthy of genuine love and respect, and you have the power to protect yourself and make choices that serve your best interests. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.